Hello guys, my name is Miko. I have a very special surprise for you. Today on the channel we have a very special guest. His name is James Q Quick. I'm sure most of you have heard of him and watched his videos, but for those of you who haven't, I will include a link in the description above above my finger and in the description. So I strongly recommend that you check out his channel, and because I found him to be very interesting and knowledgeable, and yeah, I think you should check him out. So James, I've waited very long time for you, man. You must be a busy man.
Yeah, I appreciate you working with me. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Got a full-time job, do
Yeah.
the video content, run a podcast myself,
Of course.
and then like to make sure that I have plenty of personal time for hanging out with my family and
Yeah,
doing
yeah, of
all
course.
the hobbies that I'm into. So
Yeah. So yeah, that sounds good, man. And yeah, I've been a fan of your channel for a long time. You have quite a big following.
thank you. Yeah, it's gone up a lot recently. It's kind of interesting how sometimes a video or two will just catch on and drives a lot of growth. So a lot of my growth has come in the last couple of months, and that's just
Yeah.
from like one or two videos that have done really well.
I think the last time I took a look at your channel, you had about 47,000 views, and now you have 61,000. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like I said, a couple of those videos really took off, and it's made a huge difference. on the
Yeah,
channel.
they were really popular, and actually I have prepared two videos that I found really interesting and that I learned from. The first one is don't use the sidebar in VS Code. I found it to be very interesting. It's about shortcuts for those of you who haven't seen it. And James shows a lot of interesting things and shortcuts that you can use with specifically with the VS Code. And the ones that stood out for me were Command or Control P to open files, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yeah, I started using it instead of clicking on the file in the sidebar. I think it really speeds it up, man.
Yeah, it's really just the more you can spend keeping your hands on the keyboard and not on the mouse, typically the better off you'll be. But yeah, for me, opening a file is so much easier
Yeah, of course.
with using the shortcut and then searching than it is to go and actually look for it and click on it.
One thing I learned on my own actually was instead of using backspace multiple times to delete a word, I just use I use a Mac like you. I noticed that you use a Mac, and there's an option key and then backspace. It deletes the whole word. Did you know that?
Yep, I did. And the same goes for like navigating text. So if you're just hitting the left and
Yeah,
right
exactly.
arrow,
So you
it'll
can-
just do one letter at a time. If you hold down option, it'll do word at a time. And then also the bigger version of that is holding down command. So if you do command and left to right, it'll go to the beginning and end of a line. Command up and down will go to top and bottom. And then if you're deleting and you do command backspace, it will delete everything from where you are to the front of the line. So yeah. those are super useful ones.
Yeah, very useful. And maybe you didn't know that, but you can press the function key and the backspace, and it functions like the delete key on Windows. And
I did not know that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you can combine it with the option to delete the whole word.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's a new one.
Yeah. So another video that I really liked was I don't need Postman anymore. I use VS Code.
Yeah.
I think that was so cool, man. It was Thunder client, right?
Yeah, Thunder Client. Yeah, new extension I had seen just on Twitter, I think, and then I saw their page where they launched the actual product on Product Hunt. And it's one of those things that I love VS Code for the shortcuts and the customization and the extensibility. So through like the plugin and extension ecosystem with VS Code, it's so good. You can find something to do almost anything. So when I realized that, hey, I could basically do everything that I personally do in Postman, I can do in VS Code. That was a pretty powerful moment, and I just wanted to share that with people through the video.
Yeah, I think it was a very informative video that you can use something besides Postman, because I just don't like out-tabbing into a different program to make my API calls. I think it's very
Yeah,
useful.
that's,
And something else
yeah.
that I kind of noticed in Postman is that you I don't know if it's my version or something like that, but they seem to have removed the bearer token ability. I can't seem to find it in Postman anymore, and they have it in Thunder Client, which is awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I would think it's still, you could just add it in as like part of the headers. So that's what I usually do.
Okay.
But maybe there used to be an easier option. I'm not sure. But yeah, you can definitely do the same thing in Thunder Client.
Yeah. Your first video, 27th June of 2014. Data binding.
Yeah.
Right. It was quite a long time ago, man.
It's been a really long time. It's kind of hard to think about that. That started when I was working at Microsoft as a developer evangelist at the time. And I was just kind of creating some videos, not with any real intention of growing a YouTube channel at all. So I've got kind of a lot of videos out there from early on that were just kind of there, no particular reasoning behind them. Yeah.
So it started out as a hobby or what?
Most of it started from, there's a series of like 17 videos or so on building games with a tool called Construct 2. So that's the majority of it. And it was really, I was doing workshops and I was teaching people the same thing over and over again. And I really just wanted to give them some extra resources so I wouldn't have to explain the same thing to every individual person. So I built out that series for them to have, and those did fairly well. So I figured I could kind of use YouTube potentially as a way to get out some exposure for some of the things I was doing work-wise, which was a lot of fun. And then I took a couple of years off, like didn't do anything with it, and you'll kind of see a big gap in there. And then I started doing YouTube videos consistently about 3 years ago is when I started taking it pretty seriously.
Yeah. So it's kind of a regular thing now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every week I've got one or two videos posted on the channel.
Yeah, okay. That's cool, man. And I also noticed that you were using Internet Explorer. That's kind of caveman years now. Maybe I was. I don't know. I was probably also using Edge at the time. Which was Microsoft's new browser, so I was probably supporting that as a Microsoft person. But I definitely use Chrome for my everyday stuff. I use Chrome too.
Yeah.
So one last thing before we start off this interview is you have a new podcast called Compressed FM.
Yeah, with one of my now really good friends and Amy Dutton. We met a couple of months ago doing a live stream on my channel. Really enjoyed talking to each other. She had an idea for a podcast. She's super talented as a developer, designer, freelance. So I've gotten to learn a ton from her in our conversations. But yeah, we've had a lot of fun creating content that I think both of us we just want to help people and want to share some of the things that we know and some of the things we've learned. And the podcast has become a big outlet for us in that sense. So we've got 8 or 9 episodes that are published now. We've got a few more that are already recorded, and just planning on and keeping up the consistency of doing that every week.
Is it hard to find ideas for a podcast episode?
No, not really. Honestly, it's one of those things we both, same thing with YouTube. We both have so much stuff that we want to talk about and so much stuff that we want to teach that coming up with the ideas is the easy part. Finding the time to actually record and execute on that stuff is definitely the harder aspect of it.
Yeah, of course. So I guess we could start off with some questions.
Sure.
So the first question I have for you, James, is how did you get into web dev and programming in general?
Yeah, I have a computer science degree, but I think how I actually got to that point is probably a little odd, maybe, or a little unique. So I got into college, into the engineering school. I specifically applied for, not for any particular reason other than I enjoyed math, and engineering just seems like the right thing to do. And they asked me before I actually got there, like, what would my major be? And I really had no idea. So I didn't want to do like physics or chemistry or bio. Like I wasn't that into those kind of sciences, and I had never heard of computer science. I had no idea what it actually was. But I declared to do computer science as my major. And kind of the rest is history. Like I really enjoyed the classes. I started building some stuff outside of class on my own and really found this passion for just creating things. And
great,
that passion has evolved obviously over the last several years.
Yeah.
But my getting started really just came from declaring randomly to be a computer science student, and it just worked out.
Yeah, okay. That I have a similar story. I actually started as a self-taught programmer, and then I I took an education. It's called a web developer here in Denmark, where I live, and recently I got a job at a company. Nice. And that's pretty cool, man. I'm really happy to begin to start working there. So. That's cool, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you very much, man. So which technology, I'm curious, which technology do you like the most?
Yeah,
technology,
language, I spend most of my time in React.
Yeah.
So in the last 6, 7, 8 months, maybe, I've started spending a lot of time with Next.js. So Next.js gives the ability to do statically generated pages just like you would with Gatsby or a lot of the other static site generator options out there. But you also have the ability to do server-side rendering, which gives you a lot of flexibility in how you build your applications. And it just really works with the way that I think about building stuff. So Next.js is probably the thing that's top of mind for me. I will add also that I've started experimenting with Svelte a little bit more.
Yeah, I saw that video.
Really like it.
Yeah.
And there's SvelteKit is kind of the Next.js equivalent for Svelte. It's in beta right now. I don't know when it's going to be like out of beta, but that's something that I'm really excited about for the future.
Okay. Do you want to make some serious projects with Svelte?
I don't know about serious projects, but I think a little teaser for an upcoming question is there's definitely some upcoming content on my channel on Svelte.
Okay, cool, man. That's very cool. Now I want to ask you a few questions that I will call or versus questions, and I got the inspiration from Anya Kubo. Do you know her?
Yeah, absolutely. Anya is a friend of mine in the community, YouTube community space. She is awesome. She's been on a live stream with me. Just really amazing content. It started out with like game development stuff, and she's branched out to do a lot more. So yeah, her stuff is fantastic.
Yeah, I love that she's doing games with JavaScript and stuff. I think it's amazing, man. So the first one is Laravel or Node.js. I really want to know which one you prefer.
Yeah. I'm definitely a JavaScript person. So almost everything I do is JavaScript. That's where I spend the majority of my time. So I definitely go Node.js there.
Yeah. So that's your backend choice.
Absolutely.
Have you done?
Some of that gets mixed in with Next.js. So it actually you build serverless functions with Next.js. So still using Node, but in a serverless function environment, not like a full. Not a full Node environment.
But do you use Node.js as a separate server, or do you use it with this inbuilt API ability in Next?
I do both. So the bot that I have for my Discord server is a full Node.js backend, so it's deployed to Heroku, and I still do that on some other projects as well, but more than likely if I build something new and I don't have a reason to use a full Node.js server, then I will do Next.js and use the serverless functions that are built into that.
Okay. I actually converted my own portfolio website from React to Next.js, and I really love it, man. It's so cool, man, that you can just put the pages in the pages folder, and I think the real magic is with the dynamic URLs that you can surround them with brackets, and it will be like an ID or slug or something. I think that's very cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's huge. That flexibility is definitely what has excited me as well.
Yes. Have you done anything with Laravel?
I have not. So I do want to clarify, like I don't have the experience enough to judge it versus Node.js. I just happen to be a JavaScript person. So yeah, I don't have that experience myself.
Yeah. The next one is, I think we already know the answer to, but React or Vue?
Definitely React.
Yeah.
In fairness, I haven't spent a lot of time writing Vue myself, so that's one of the things that has been kind of something I'd like to try for a while. But since I started looking at Svelte recently, Svelte seems like kind of the next viable option for me right now, more so than Vue at this point.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to learning more about that and seeing how it compares to React in the future.
Yes. The company I'm going to work at is actually using Vue, so I think that's very cool, man. I'm very excited to start doing that.
Yeah.
So the next one is Java or C#. You know, they are very similar, so maybe you have a preference.
Yeah, honestly, they're so similar. I think for people out there, like either one you go with will help kind of inform learning the other. My most recent experience is with Java. So at my job at FedEx, I did Java and Spring Boot and microservices and that kind of stuff. And I've actually been teaching Java and Spring Boot recently.
Okay.
I did some .NET C# stuff when I was at Microsoft, but that's been longer ago.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit more in tune with Java and the Java ecosystem. So that's where I would, if I had to choose one, that's what I would choose. But they're so similar. I think learning one really enables you to learn the other.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I looked at some job not opportunities, but what do you call it? Job search. You know, when you search for a job.
Yep.
I found out that in USA it's actually more common to be using Java in many companies, whereas in Denmark it's like using those banking applications. You know, especially those the part where that's responsible for transferring the money and doing anything with the account and stuff. That's mostly C#, actually.
Yeah.
The old version.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next question is, what are some of the websites that you are most proud of that you either created or contributed to?
Yeah, one is just my personal site, jamesqquick.com, and it's built with Gatsby and Sanity.io, and it has a serverless function for handling emails. So that was just a cool learning experience that has kind of evolved over the course of a year or two, and I'm actually going through another redesign myself of kind of updating it to match my modern brand and that sort of stuff. So there will definitely be some big updates coming. And then the other one is the compressed.fm website, which is the podcast that we talked about earlier with Amy. And I will say, like, Amy has done the vast majority of the work on this site, like probably 95% of it.
Yeah.
But I was able to do some of the integrations with our statistics and our sponsors. So handling authentication, and then for people who sponsor episodes, giving them a dashboard to view the statistics for the episodes that they sponsored. And that was really cool. Like, just being a part of something that she has mostly built that just looks amazing. Like, it's such a good website. The design, the user experience is fantastic. And then being able to contribute to that has been a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, it must have been, man. You showed some source code on some of your videos of Compressed FM. Yeah. So now some more kind of like questions that will tell us more about yourself as a person. What do you do in your free time? I'm curious to know.
I've got lots of different hobbies. My wife and I have been playing golf. We started playing back in October, and we played every week for about 2 months until it got too cold. And didn't play for a month and a half, and have, since it was warm enough, have been playing every week for about the last 2 months as well. So we really enjoy that. We've got 2 dogs that we spend a lot of time with. I've got my young nephews that live a few blocks away, so we spend a lot of time going to their track meets and baseball games and that sort of stuff. I have gotten a little bit into like woodworking type things, so I built a few things myself, watching a lot of YouTube videos to learn how to do it. And then we're both pretty active. So she she bought a Peloton recently, the stationary bike thing, and I've been really loving that. So we've been doing Peloton a lot.
Yeah.
And any kind of sport really we're both into. We play soccer, co-ed soccer a lot.
Soccer, okay. That's not so. Maybe it's become more popular over the years, but when I lived in the USA, it was well for one, I really enjoyed baseball, and it was not so common to
play soccer.
Yeah, exactly. For teenagers at my age who were more interested in baseball and American football and not so much basketball actually. I don't know why. But those two sports, baseball and football, were very popular when I went to school there. So
yeah. Well, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Well, I think I was gonna jump ahead to a potential next question about favorite sport.
Yeah. So the next question is, what is your favorite beverage and snack?
Yeah. So I actually don't really drink much outside of water. Like I drink water almost all day. I will say I don't drink very much, but I am a really big fan of beer. So I love to try beer in different cities that I go to, like the craft breweries and stuff. I really enjoy that. Snacks, like I love ice cream. That's one of my wife and I's big weaknesses. And I also love making granola bars. So I make them at home myself, and you can add whatever ingredients
of course
you want. Typically they have some sort of peanut butter, nuts, and dark chocolate are the things that are typically in the ones that I make. So
of course,
any variation of that is something that I really enjoy.
Yeah. Have you tried Heineken?
I have had Heineken. I've actually had it in Amsterdam as well. So I usually like darker beers, but I do like Heineken as well.
Okay. In Denmark, it's very common for a beer to have 4.6% of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit lower number than in Poland, where I'm originally from. I'm born, where it's 5.2. It's a bit stronger, actually. So Heineken I think that falls into 4.6 or something like that. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, when I was in Amsterdam, I forget the name of the beer, but it was at a local pub thing in Amsterdam, and they had one beer that was either 11 or 12%.
Oh my God!
Which is the highest highest percent I think I'd ever had. But that was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, the beers with that much alcohol, it's not limited edition, but it's mostly for special occasions like Easter. There's Easter brew and stuff like that. So what is the programming job that you are most proud of having?
I think the job that I'm currently in, so I'm a developer advocate at Auth0, and the reason that it's pretty special to me is I started my career out as a technical evangelist at Microsoft, which is very similar to this, and then I transitioned to FedEx, which is local here in Memphis. That's where their headquarters, doing software development. And I really missed me being a part of the community, like me having a reason to be connected to people out there in the world and people out there in the JavaScript ecosystem on Twitter and YouTube and at conferences and things. And so I realized I just really missed doing all of those. So I was ready to move out of software development and get back into a role like developer advocacy. So just the fact that it was exactly the type of role I was looking for. It was exactly the type of company I was looking for. The culture here is awesome. Work remotely, get to travel when COVID is not as much of a factor, and work with super, super talented and smart people. I think that's what really makes this role and this team and the company so special. It's just how talented people are, how smart people are, and how open we are. So we're always looking to help each other improve, always providing feedback on things. This is I think kind of the highlight of my technical career, of feeling like I was able to accomplish basically exactly what I wanted, which is really special.
That's cool, man. Do you contribute to open source?
Not really in the sense of like someone else has an open source project and I like make PRs and stuff. I've done some documentation PRs, but I do contribute in the sense that like I create content, and then a lot of that content is available in a GitHub repo. So if I create a YouTube video, a lot of the in-depth tutorials, they'll then be a public repository on GitHub for people to go and see that code and make sure that they can do exactly what I have there. So I contribute in that way, but not in the sense of like a typical open source contributor or maintainer where you're looking at just a project that a lot of people are going to be using.
That's amazing, man. So I think this could have been answered, but what is your favorite sport? You're gonna say baseball, right?
Yeah. So again, like I've played every sport. Like I'm a super competitive person. I grew up playing sports every day. I actually played baseball through high school. I played basketball, or I worked with our basketball team in college. Basketball is my favorite sport.
Okay.
I've also spending time with my wife. Like I've just played so much soccer with her, which is a really special thing. So that's definitely up there as well. And then, like I said, really been into golf the last 6 or 8 months. So I guess those maybe those are my top 3 right now.
So basketball is your favorite sport. So you must have seen Coach Carter, right?
Yes, that's actually one of my favorite movies. Yeah, I love.
Yeah, I love that one too, man. I've seen it way too many times.
Yeah.
So what music do you listen to?
I'm a little bit all over the place. The 2 big categories I listen to are country and rap or hip hop. I grew up listening to mostly rap and hip hop. Really started to appreciate country music when I went to school in Nashville, which is kind of the heart of country music. And I'm pretty open to a lot of other things. I just don't actively seek them out as much. So country and rap or hip hop are the 2 that I pretty actively listen to.
I actually grew up with rap and hip hop as well. I think I was introduced to it when I was 10 or 11. It was in the start Polish rap, but then I really not fell in love, but I really got interested in Eminem.
I'm a huge fan of Eminem. That was definitely a big one for me growing up, and he's kind of made a little bit of a resurgence the last couple of years with some new albums and stuff. So that's been fun to watch too.
Yeah, he's been into with a lot of trouble with drugs and stuff.
I think that's, definitely has a lot of experiences to talk about.
It's good that he got over it, because he was supposed to come to Denmark in 2005. It was around that time when I came to Denmark, and we bought the tickets and we were ready to go, and I heard on the radio that the show was being cancelled because he got sick. So he canceled the European tour totally. So I was kind of crushed. So
that sucks. Especially, I'm sure you're really excited about that.
Yeah, I was, man. So I think you already answered that too, but I wanted to be the special question. Can you reveal what your next video will be about, exclusively for the viewers of my channel?
So I mentioned I've been doing a lot with Svelte, and I've really enjoyed it. So I want to try out Svelte Kit specifically, and then build a Pokedex using the Pokemon API in Svelte. So you'll have like a landing page with all the Pokemon. You can click on one to go to the details page and see a little more details about each one. So that's what I'm in the next week or 2 is what I'm working to get done.
Okay. Well, I think you're a very interesting person. And I love your videos very much. I watch them whenever I can, and I actually followed your Compressed FM podcast.
Cool.
I haven't watched it.
Awesome.
I haven't found the time to watch it, to listen to it yet, but I definitely will. I think that's an awesome initiative, and I will look forward to the Svelte video. I also I haven't done anything with it, but I think it's very interesting how they handle the DOM. And
it's supposed to just be a lot faster, because it becomes like vanilla JavaScript after you do the build process with no framework.
Exactly.
So I'm kind of interested in that too.
So the bundle size will be a lot smaller. And I hope it will take off, just like Vue and React did. I think it's awesome how Vue got popular, even though it was started by only one person, and and now it got a lot of contributors, and there are many libraries like Vuetify, and yeah. So I think that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's cool to see how all these things have modernized in the last several years.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, man. So anyway, guys, this was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I am thinking about continuing the series. I will call it Quick Interviews. And yeah, so thank you very much for watching. This was James Q Quick, who loves basketball. And yeah, guys, so see you next time. This is Miko.